Good evening, my name is Eric Bridges, and this is my oral presentation. In this presentation, I'll be talking about the history, product lines, manufacturing process, and even major competitors of one of today's most recognizable companies, the company called Apple. The history of Apple started out in the garage with three friends and very humble beginnings. Regardless of this, the main people responsible for Apple are the two Steves, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniacki. They're a friend, and well, a friend of theirs named Ronald Wayne. Without Mr. Wayne, there might not be a company called Apple today. Can you imagine no iPhone, no iPad, no iMac? Jobs convinced him to take 10% of the company stock and act as an arbiter should he and Wozniak fall out favor with one another. Mr. Wayne backed out 12 days later, selling the stock for just $500, a holding that today would be worth $72 billion. Steve Jobs met Steve Wozniak at the Homebrew Computer Club, a gathering of enthusiasts in a garage in California's Milano Park. Woz had seen his first MITS Altimeter there, which looks like a little more than a box of lights and circuit boards. It was inspired to build MITS build-it-yourself kit to make something simpler for the rest of us. You can see this philosophy today in Apple's products. With this, he produced the first computer with a typewriter-like keyboard and the ability to connect to a regular TV. This computer was later christened the Apple I and was later the archetype of every modern computer. But Wozniak was not trying to change the world with what he had produced. He just wanted to show off how much he had managed to do with so few resources. When Wozniak had an interview with the National Press reporters in 2006, he explained that when I built this Apple I, the first computer, I thought it should look like a typewriter. It should have a keyboard, and the output device is a TV set. It wasn't trying to change the world, that there was a direction it should go in. It was to really show the people around me to boast, to be clever, and to get acknowledgement for having designed a very inexpensive computer. It almost didn't happen. The Woz we know now has a larger-than-life personality, and he's funded rock concerts and shimmied on Dancing with the Stars. But as he told Sydney Morning Herald, I was shy, and I felt that I knew little about the newest developments in computers. He came close to ducking altogether and giving the club a miss. Let's be thankful he didn't. Jobs saw the computer, recognized its brilliance, and told his VW Microbus to help fund its production. Wozniak sold his HP calculator, and together they founded Apple Computer on April the 1st, 1976, alongside Ronald Wayne, now making Apple a 40-year-old company. The product line consists of many products, starting with the MacBook, a 12-inch display computer with dual-core processor and up to 10 hours battery life, and up to 512 gigabytes of flash storage. The MacBook Air has an 11-inch backlit split display, a dual-core processor, up to 9 hours battery life, and 512 flash storage. The MacBook Air, a 13-inch display, dual-core processor, and 12 hours battery life, and 512 gigabytes of flash storage. There are iPads, starting with the iPad, which was basically a 9-inch display, a 5 megapixel camera on the back and a 1.12 megapixel front camera, and 10 hours battery life. There was then the iPad 2, which had a 9-inch 0.5 display, an 8 megapixel camera on the back, and 1.2 front-facing camera, and a good solid 9 hours battery life. And then there was the iPad Air 2, which had a 9.7-inch display, an 8 megapixel camera on the back, and a 1.2 front-facing camera, and up to 10 hours battery life. Okay, and then there were the iPhones, starting with the original iPhone, which only got up to 3G. And then there was the iPhone 4S, which was a 4-inch display, dual-core processor, got 8 hours of battery life, and I think had also a 1.2 front-facing camera, got relatively up to 7 to 8 hours of battery life. Then there was the iPhone 5 and 5S. And then there was the iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus. And recently there was iPhone SE, which looks a lot like the original iPhone 5. It gets 9 to 10 hours battery life, 4.5-inch display, still dual core, but basically the same design as the original 5. They just bumped the battery up. Then there's the Apple TV, which works through the internet and iTunes Store to allow you to watch TV shows and movies. And then there's the Apple Watch, which allows you to receive texts, email, and phone calls without having to pick up your phone. All these products are processed through aluminum, Corning, Gorilla Glass, and while Apple has many factories around the world, its most popular is Foxconn in China, which is Apple's biggest supplier of Apple products. Despite this, goes back to the original front. The Apple part, yeah. Despite them having many factories, its most popular is Foxconn in China, which is Apple's biggest supplier of Apple products. Despite all this, Apple is looking into ways to scale down costs by using robots instead of human Chinese workers. This is nothing new to factories in general, even in America, so this should be no surprise. There's also a concern that only 30% of iPhone users have upgraded to the iPhone 6 last year. This means that Apple had to work even harder in terms of hardware and software improvements. I need you to click down because I know I put more slides in there. See.
There's
No more?
no more.
Okay, I thought I had others. Alright, just go back to stay on the Apple icon. Stay on that first one. Despite all this, Apple still has many competitors around the world, and one of their big competitors is Samsung. And yet others also follow, such as Microsoft, BlackBerry, Lenovo, Motorola, Sony, LG, HTC, Huawei, ZTE, and Alcatel, just to name a few. They make many phones and tablets that are similar to iPads and iPhones. Google is another major competitor against the iOS from Apple, which is also known as Android, which is currently on a large pool of devices, including smartphones and tablets. This title was once held by BlackBerry and Windows Phone OS. Even Nokia held this title at one point in time. With such a change in popularity, we'll have to wait and see if the iPhone 7 release will help change all that. And that will be the end of my presentation. Thank you.